What's up, ladies and gents? I'm your host, Neutrino1, and welcome to my Platinum Guide for Star Wars Outlaws. This is on the PlayStation 5, and today we'll be going over every single trophy or achievement, depending on which version of the game you're playing on which console, and show you exactly what you need to do to get it and kind of where it unlocks, and just a little bit of details of how each and every single trophy can be earned. First of all, make sure if you're not already subscribed to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon notifications to let you guys know when new videos and live streams are coming out. This is a platinum channel, meaning that most of the time what we do here is play all different types of games, and we try to get those platinums and show them off to everybody out there. So if you want to see the live version of this as we go through every single game, earning each and every achievement and trophy, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. So with that being said, this is Star Wars Outlaws. I was gracious enough to get the review code for this game from Ubisoft themselves, but everything that I say about this game, of course, is my own opinion, and you can watch all the live streams that I did. I believe there was a total of about 10 live streams that we did in order to get the platinum. Now, just to get things out of the way first, the platinum was actually unachievable for the first few weeks. They finally fixed the bug, and now you can get it. It was not unachievable on other consoles like the Xbox Series X or the PC, but there was a little PlayStation bug that just pretty much prevented you from being able to grab the platinum. So we're going to go down each and every single trophy here. There's a total of 50, so 49 trophies plus the platinum itself. And you can see the amount of time that it took me, which is just a few weeks, and I did not stream every single day. It took me exactly 10 times playing the game, each stream roughly around 6 hours or so, give or take, to give you guys kind of a little bit of a heads up of how long it might take all of you out there to complete. So, getting things started right away, here we go. First trophy is called Against All Odds, is when you fix your first Fathier race. So what I'll do is we'll show this off here, and you can see how you can achieve it during the race. What you essentially need to do is at the very beginning of the game, as soon as you have access to your character, you will be able to walk around, kind of move around a little bit, and head outside into the area. If you keep going all the way back, you will eventually find a data disk that you can read, and in that it tells you exactly what you need to do and who you need to bet on in order to have a fixed race. So then you read that. Of course, you have to read that before it allow you to actually unlock the platinum trophy or the trophy itself. So make sure you read that, come back here, and then bet on who it tells you to win. Again, that is all the way in the back as soon as you go straight back to the entire map. So like you start right outside this little area here where the bar is, head straight all the way back, and eventually you will run across the data disk. It's really, really easy to find, and it shouldn't be too hard. So there is the first one, again called Against All Odds. Second up, we have Made It Somehow, which is to acquire a blaster, starship, and speeder. There are also trophies here that you're going to be collecting, which just pretty much essentially mean that you just have to complete a part of the story. This is the first one. You'll get to this part of the story and you'll automatically unlock it. It's when you first get to the open world and you're able to ride around. And it's called Made It Somehow. Very easy to get, self-explanatory. Next up is called Like a Bantha. This is to perform a perfect landing with the speeder. Now, the perfect landings with the speeder might not look like a perfect landing, but there are two different types of landings that you can do in this game. One of them being like your speeder just kind of bobbles up and down really weird like, and the other one being where it kind of almost stays stationary and it doesn't look like it's a bad landing, but it also doesn't look perfect. This is what the perfect looks like. You can get this the moment you get to this area too. You see how you kind of bob just a little bit? You can also mess up that as well, and you'll like kind of bounce around even more. So you'll know exactly when you get it. Very easy one to do. I don't see anyone not being able to get this. Next up is called Stay on Target. Complete your first intel chain. This is something you're going to do just by doing side missions.
That wasn't so bad.
I can't believe you did it. Please, take one for yourself.
All you have to do is essentially just solve whatever it is, that little side mission that you do, come back, turn it in. You can do it with this guy, you can do it with different, it just depends on what you want to do. Very easy. Most people are going to be able to get that one if they take any time into the game and look outside of the main story. Next up is called Give Me the Good Stuff. Buy an item from a merchant's VIP stock. So as you can see, we have a thing down below called the Factions stock. Usually what you need to be is make sure that you're in good standing when it comes to specific faction. Either Crimson Dawn, of course, the Pikes, the Hutts. It doesn't matter who you choose. Just if you're in good standing, they're going to have extra options for you to pick from, usually where it says faction stock. If you buy one, you will automatically get this, another easy trophy to collect. Next one up is called Get Rhythm. Pick 20 locks with the data spike. This is a really cool mini game. It's essentially a sound mini game. So for those of you that maybe have a hard time with it, I had an easy time with it because I'm a drummer, so it was very easy to pull these off. So all you got to do is listen to it about one time, and you're going to hear clicks. You're going to hear dat boom, dat boom, and every time you hear that extra click, that's when you want to do it. So listen to the small clicks, and then hit the trigger button as soon as the next one comes up, when it's the bigger click. It might take you a little bit of time to get used to it, but it's not really that difficult once you just take a little bit of time. It's really about rhythm and learning the chords. Like, you're going to see the same patterns kind of over and over again, I will say. So eventually you're going to get really good at it, and it's going to be that much of a problem. If you do, you can turn on the accessibility option, which actually shows you a visual cue of when you need to hit it, and that's essentially all you have to do for that one. Next up is called Good Listener. Listen to the longest sob story in the galaxy. This one I kind of randomly came across. It's going to be at a certain location that you get on early in the game. You just have to listen to them. That's it.
Thank you for listening.
I believe this is called John Does Hope, and you go inside the bar area, and just listen to this guy right here. Don't interrupt the conversation, and you should be good to go to get Good Listener. Next up is called Tip the Scales. Complete all main quests on Tashara. This is automatic as soon as you do the story. Boom. Once you finish every main story mission on the first planet that's open, then you will receive this trophy. Next up is Cloak and Dagger. Reach maximum reputation with the Crimson Dawn. Each faction has a trophy pertaining to getting the max reputation. So, there's really not too much we need to do. Just do missions for them, side missions for them. You could do contracts for them, sell certain data to them, and eventually you can get your reputation all the way up to excellent, and you will unlock the trophy. Slice 10 advanced terminals. So these little mini games are not too difficult. It's just a process of elimination. You'll have a certain amount of ones that you can put in there. They each have different shapes. You can also use the accessibility option and change it to numbers if you would rather have numbers instead of shapes. But just follow the steps, and you're trying to just do the process of elimination. Green means that is exactly where that particular box goes. Yellow means that you have the correct box, it's just in the wrong slot. So you need to move it until you find the correct slot. And then, of course, X means you don't use it. So it's pretty much that simple. Now you see me, now you don't. Disable an alarm using a security terminal while the alarm is active.
Sorry, Kay. It's gotta be Hank. This is just her style. She can't focus on two things at the same time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stick with her. Once Hank's finished with Kira, she'll...
So all you have to do for this one is, when an alarm is active, either get into a fight, allow them to go and turn the alarm on, find an alarm junction box before it gets turned off, and then turn it off yourself. You can even use Nyx to do it, and you will unlock this trophy. Next up is Slice Like You. Essentially just slice 20 terminals. You'll get this through the course of the story. I think it's pretty much automatic because you're going to slice at least 20 in the overall course of the story. Next up is One Job at a Time. Complete all the main quests on Kajimi.
Care out there. And good luck.
Once done so, you will unlock this story-related trophy, and there you go. Next up is The Queen's Word is Law. Reach maximum reputation with the Ashiga clan. This is exactly the same thing as we showed you with the Crimson Dawn. Do enough missions for them, get their reputations up. As you can see, the reputations have different meanings. If you see, when you're doing specific missions like this, one of the things that I can tell you that make it so much easier for you to understand what works and what doesn't is, if you look where it says reputation right there, right? You see the 200, below it says reputation. Below that is this little green icon that has what I would call 3 chevrons. What that means is each one pertains to a higher level of reputation. If you just see one chevron, that usually means that it's a lower reputation. You'll get one chevron, like say, either if you help out one of their, you know, let's say there's a fight going on in the open world and you help them out, you might get 1 reputation boost. But what you want to do is try to do the missions and the contracts that give you 3, because they give you the most, and you'll be able to get higher much quicker on the reputation meter. Next up is There Is No Try. There is no try. Get a high score in an arcade game. This one actually took me a little time to do. Essentially, you just need to pick one of the arcade games. There's a total of 3 different ones, whichever one suits you the best, and get the highest score. The one that I specifically chose is the race one. You just got to make sure that you keep getting these white things, because that's what helps you to keep the speed. And for this particular one, I think you needed to complete it in under 1 minute and 21 seconds, or a minute or 20 seconds. Most of those are mine, as you can see. So you need to do 1 minute and 20 something. Once you do that, it'll take you a few times, probably, depending on how good you are at moving left to right. Or you could choose one of the other ones, which you have like kind of an asteroid style one. And I can't remember what the third one is, but there are multiple ones that you could try it out for. You just got to get high score in whichever one you pick. Next up is I'll Bet You Have. Defeat 20 enemies distracted by Fast Talk. So Fast Talk is one of the abilities that you're going to be able to get. So once you are going... So the game doesn't allow you to actually do kind of... It doesn't set itself up as a normal RPG in a sense. What it does is, instead of having like a skill tree, you have these experts that you talk to. There's a total of like 9 of them or something. I think it's 9. But either way, what you do is you just essentially do the specific tasks that they require you to do. And it's very easy to follow. You just do those specific tasks. And once you do, you'll get the fast talk. And then you'll be able to do this if you use 20 enemies to do it. So you need to purposefully get caught. Hit R3 as soon as you have the opportunity. Right there, it tells you. And then hit R1 to do a stun shot as quickly as possible. Make sure that your stun meter is all the way up, or else you won't be able to use it. Because obviously if your stun meter needs recharging, you're not going to be able to use it specifically. So essentially, again, all you got to do is immediately just be caught by a guard, just when there's one person around. Immediately hit R3 as soon as the prompt tells you, and then immediately hit R1. Now this is just PlayStation ways of doing it. Otherwise it'll be RB. And then it should automatically shoot right at him. Make sure you do angle your camera so that it shoots somewhat on his body, because if you do angle your camera too high when you hit it, it can go above the head of the enemy. So other than that, pretty easy to do, and you should be able to unlock that one pretty easy. Next up is called Making Friends. Escape from Jabba's Place. Story, mission. It's as simple as that. Obviously, if you're watching this, spoilers. I mean, that's pretty obviously you wouldn't watch a Platinum Guide unless you cared about spoilers. So Making Friends, just get to that part of the story, and there you go. Next up is Rare Friends. Complete all main quests on Tatooine. Self-explanatory.
Okay. I bet.
And there you go. You'll get that automatically. Next up is What You See Is What You Get. Reach maximum reputation with the hut. Again, same as the previous 2. Do whatever missions, contracts you want to get them up as much as possible. Get all the way from good to excellent. And then you will unlock this trophy. Next up is Cutthroat Politics. Reach maximum reputation with the pikes. You can see I always did these on contracts. Pretty easy to do. Next up is Adventure and Excitement. Discover all planet areas.
I'm tailing a cargo shuttle leaving the lake. Any idea where it's going?
I have it. It's on a landing pad inland.
So what this means is, on a particular planet, you just need to make sure that you discover all the areas at it. Go to everywhere, do a lot of exploring, and you should unlock this one. If you're trying to get the platinum, it should be one that you'll be able to easily do, because you're already going around doing side missions. And most of those intels and side missions will take you to every place located on a particular planet, and you should be able to have it pretty easily. Next up is No Match for a Good Blaster. Fully upgrade a blaster module configuration. All you need to do is make sure you do... it doesn't matter if you choose bolt, blast, or whatever. Just fill one of those all the way up on each and every single section of it. So you'll see that there are multiple sections. You have power, ion, plasma. You just need to fill plasma's one section of the different options you have all the way up, then fill the ions one all the way up, and then fill the power one all the way up. All of these do not need to be unlocked. Just one chain of each one needs to be unlocked. Next up is Spiked. Liberate the original Super Viper Droid. This is a side mission that you can do.
Man, you guys never stop talking, huh?
So if you do this specific side mission with the droid, the Viper Droid, you will unlock this trophy. Next up is Best of the Best. Complete all main quests on Akiva, same thing as the other planets. All story related. The Director. Learn SLO's Secret. This is also another story mission. Once you've completed, you will unlock the trophy.
Okay, let's go. For the rebellion, right?
Next up is Eye on the Score. Complete all main quests in Canto Bight. Now, you'll start out the game in Canto Bight, but you won't come back to it towards the end of the story. So once you finish the end of the story and get closer to that ending of the game, of the main story campaign, then you will be able to complete all of the main quests on that. Again, another story-related trophy. Calling in some favors, destroy the Revelator. This is again another story-related one. Pretty much as soon as you complete the Canto Bight one, you're going to be sent into destroying the Revelator. So again, another story-related trophy. And of course, that's the end of the game one. So once you do that, you have beat the end of the main story. That's why it's gold. So story related. Galactic Gourmet. Sample all galactic street food. So each planet has a location with a food icon that you need to go and visit. You're going to have these little mini games that you do where you just need to press certain buttons, go through it. It's a long process. It takes about roughly anywhere between 5 and 7 minutes. Just make sure you press all the buttons that it tells you to do, and you will unlock a ability for Nyx to do. You just need to do that in all 4 locations. There's one on Akiva, on pretty much all the planets that you're able to go to freely. You just need to find where it is, and it's usually in the main hub location areas where all of the shops and stuff like that are.
Great. Thank you.
Next up is Galaxy Drift. Perform a 30-second power slide drift. This one's a lot easier than you may think. All you have to do is just pretty much do a power slide for 30 seconds over and over and over again until you unlock it. I actually found that if I point the camera straight up, it unlocked, because I was doing this with the camera down and it literally wouldn't unlock until I pointed the camera up. So I don't know if that's the same way for you guys, but that's how I was able to unlock this trophy. Next up is Experience Outranks Everything. Complete all expert quests. So this is not something you have to do that's pertaining to the main story. This is something you have to go out of your way to do. So every ability that you gain comes from the experts. You don't have to have every ability from each expert. However, you do have to have every expert unlocked. And the only way to, unlock the experts is to do their mission. Each expert will come with an initial mission that they want you to do so that they can actually start giving you the abilities. Once that happens, actually, I'll say the first 2, I don't believe you have to do, but all the rest you do, because you get one of them at the very beginning automatically without doing his mission, or he didn't have a mission or anything like that. But well, I guess you could say he kind of does, because it's part of the main story. But what you'll do is you'll have to uncover clues to find where the experts are. Then you'll do that mission for them, and then you'll unlock the trophy once you've just done one mission for each expert.
You good, Andy?
Why wouldn't I be?
Right.
Next up is Gotcha Something. Collect all Nick's treasures. These are locations that you have to go around in the map. Essentially, when you get close to them, Nyx will kind of take himself away from you, and you'll get a little icon that says "Look." Then you just follow him. You'll see you'll have little puzzles, parkour sections that you'll have to go through. There's a bunch on each and every single planet, and once you get all of those, you can find those in the collectible area in your menu. So, yeah. And you get like a little vista at the end of every single one you do. And then you'll get the trophy. Gotcha Something. Next up is No Such Thing as Luck. Cheat and win a sabacc game against Lando. That's right, Lando Calrissian is in the game. Spoilers. So essentially what you're going to do is he's one of your experts. So you'll go and you'll do the mission you need to do with him. After a while, you need to play a few hands at sabacc, and then he will invite you to join him in a friendly game. And you need to make sure that you cheat on him. In order to cheat, you'll have different options you can do. Say, for instance, when you're playing sabacc, you can have Nyx look over their shoulder so you can see what cards they have. You can cheat by drawing 2 cards. There's different options that you can choose. All you got to do is make sure you cheat and then end up winning the entire game.
All right, Lando. Time to pay up.
Next up, we have Old School Cool. Acquire this Disruptor gear set. This was actually the trophy that was locking people out of the Platinum, but they did fix it, and this is part of a particular mission that you need to do in order to do it. You'll know what mission it is once it starts to come up. You'll have to go around to all of these different vaults, and yeah, you'll get the Disruptor gear, 1 in each vault that you do.
There's some kind of...
And then that's pretty much it. Yeah, so you should be able to get it. Shouldn't be too difficult now that it's actually able to be done. And yeah. Once you grab all 4 pieces, you'll get the trophy. Next up is Honest Work. Complete 40 contracts. This one can take a little time. Some contracts can be completed really, really quick. My suggestion to you is to take all the contracts that are in space, because those can literally be finished in less than a minute. So definitely take as many space contracts as you can. Try to have as good reputation with factions as you can as well, because you'll end up getting more contracts for that, and just complete 40 and you're good to go.
There's another offer, Kay.
The ones usually on the planet take a little bit longer because you have to travel from one location to another, whereas in space it's mostly pick up this gear and then deliver it like somewhere really close by. So, and then you're just in your ship the whole time. Next up is Right Back At You, which is defeat 20 enemies using items fetched by Nyx. So essentially what this means is really, really simple. Just pick up a weapon that you might see kind of laying around when you're like in combat. So you'll be in combat, you'll be around an area, maybe an enemy will drop a weapon. Have Nyx pick up that weapon and then proceed to take out those enemies with that weapon. Once you get to 20, then you should be good to go. I did most of it right here at this Imperial base, and I just kept picking up from the enemies that were kind of coming at me, and then I would have Nyx pick up their weapon, and then I would use it on other enemies, and eventually you'll get right back at you. Next up is Shoot First. Defeat 6 enemies simultaneously using Adrenaline Rush. You will need to get specific abilities for this. So find out who the expert is that gives you the ability to have 6 adrenaline shots. And you gain adrenaline essentially by going around and doing stuff. If you're in a fight, by going around and either taking out enemies, shooting them, using Nyx, those types of things will build your adrenaline meter up. Once it's up, and you have the 6 unlocked, then just make sure there are 6 enemies close by, mark, and then execute. Of course, make sure that they're in view, because sometimes, you know, there might be 6 people around, but you just can't get them because obviously you're stuck in place when you do that. So try to do it in an area where you know there's going to be at least 6 enemies close by. Next up is They Live Up to the Name. clear your wanted status by completing a Death Trooper confrontation. This one's a lot easier than you might think. Find any Imperial base, or really it doesn't even need to be an Imperial base. It could just be a place where there's just like, you know, some stormtroopers or something, and just start havoc, right? Just start taking them out. Eventually your wanted system's going to keep going up further and further the more you take out. Once you get to a 5-star Imperial ranking, then you're going to see something on the screen that says Death Squad is coming after you. It'll tell you where they are. All you need to do is go to that location, and then you can clear your wanted status by completing that confrontation event, which is essentially going in, stealing the card that will erase your wanted level, and then using it inside that base. You can distract enemies. You can take all the enemies out first. Death Troopers are a little bit harder to take out, or you can be like me and stealth around them by creating distractions, and then you can do that. So we had already stolen the card from one of the officers, and then we used a distraction to take all the enemies outside of that area, and then boom, go in, sneak in, and we get the trophy. Don't get cocky. Defeat 5 enemies with Adrenaline Rush on the speeder. Now, you need to be on the speeder. However, the enemies don't need to be on the speeder, okay? So you can easily do this because when you're on a speeder, you gain adrenaline very, very fast. Because if anybody shoots at you, it's almost just takes like 2 or 3 shots from people to you, or kind of you dodging them left or right or anything like that, and you'll build your adrenaline meter. Same thing as when you're on foot, just adrenaline shot 5 people and you should have it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Next up is Think I Had a Choice. Reach the lowest possible reputation with a faction. I actually found this to be very difficult. So I would suggest this to be one of the earliest trophies you do, because you start the game already in the poor section with all of the factions. So since you're already in the poor, you might as well go ahead and just do some things that get them in the poor. So one of the things that you can do to make this, there's 2 methods you can do. One method that I did at the end was get them as low as I could, and then just continually walk into their base, and they'll tell you to get out, and then you just keep doing that over and over. The other option that's a lot faster to do is to go around to any locations and start shooting their people, and keep doing that over and over and over again, then back out. You'll get a lot of reputation minus, and just keep doing that over and over. I know it's kind of crazy to do it that way, but also look for contracts that are for one faction and not for another faction, and then make sure the one that's not for it has the most points. But the best method to do this with is that when you do a contract, you've always seen that there's these 2 options you get. You could either turn it in like you were going to complete the contract, or you can betray and turn it into another one. If you choose a very low contract and you turn them in, or should you give it to someone else, or you betray the ones you're doing the contract for, you will get 3 chevrons, or you get the highest reputation. If you choose a contract with a lot of reputation and then you betray them, you'll actually only get very little reputation. So it's kind of like backwards, but essentially that's what you need to do. But you see, this is what I did over and over. I just got caught. That's how I ended it, because I didn't have any more contracts that I could accept to betray with the pikes. I chose to do this with the pikes, but once I did so many contracts, I wasn't able to do any more contracts with the pikes, and that meant that I couldn't betray them. So I had to finish it off doing it this way, just entering their area over and over again, and eventually it was able to get the trophy. Next up is It Wasn't Me. Bribe an Imperial officer to clear wanted level 5. Each planet has an Imperial officer that is around one of the main hub areas. Get your wanted status to level 5, then immediately go right to where that officer is and bribe him with money.
Help you out of this mess? For a price? Try to stay out of trouble.
Target lost.
And there you go.
To your positions.
All clear.
Next up is Into Darkness. Destroy 10 enemy ships inside the Kijimi Nebula. So this one's a little weird to explain. So you need to go to the Kijimi area, kind of like the planet area, and then you're going to go inside that little nebula. What you want to make sure that you do is you're inside the fog inside the nebula. not just inside the nebula itself, but inside the fog. You'll know that you're inside the fog if your HUD starts to kind of look blurry, right? So when your HUD looks blurry, you're inside the fog. You need to try to lure as many ships as you can into the fog. It doesn't work if you're shooting from inside the fog to outside the fog. You have to make sure that the enemy ships you're destroying are also inside the fog. Here's the kicker. You get no auto aim. And this game is very, very difficult to shoot enemies with your ship with no auto aim. Okay? So this might take you a little time. It did take me a little time to do, but essentially that's what you need to do. So you can see there's like our HUD's a little blurry right there. And you just keep shooting until you get enough enemies that you take out. And that's how you'll do it. I mean, like I said, you know, it might take you a little time. It's not the easiest one to get, but you should be able to get it. Just stay inside the fog and make sure the enemies are inside the fog as well. Never tell me the odds. Defeat an enemy ship without dealing the finishing blow with lasers or missiles. This could be done a few different ways. You could either go to an area that has a lot of asteroids around it, so that enemies that are trying to shoot at you and follow you, you can kind of weave and dodge around the asteroids so that it kills them, or you could ram them. But you just want to make sure that the final blow doesn't come from your lasers or missiles. As you can see, that enemy just ran into an asteroid, so I used particularly the asteroid route, and that's how I was able to get it. Next up, sometimes I amaze even myself. Defeat an enemy ship after doing a loop maneuver. The best chance you have of getting this is to have a ship that is in front of you a little bit. Use your missiles, okay? Arm your missiles and fire your missiles. Immediately after you fire the missile, do your loop maneuver, which is an ability that you can get. So just follow the abilities. You'll see which one it is. And then immediately, as soon as you fire the missile, do a loop maneuver. You want to make sure that the loop maneuver completes before the missile reaches the target and destroys the target. If you do so, you'll be able to take the target out while you did your loop maneuver, and then you can unlock the trophy. Next up is easy pickings. Pickpocket a customer in a cantina on each planet. This was actually a very time-consuming one because it's random. So you have 4 different planets, you have 4 different areas. You will know the 4 main cantinas, right? Obviously, you've got the Mos Eisley Cantina. You know that one. There's the cantina you start at the beginning of the first world to Shara that you're in, where you do start your missions with the Pikes and the Crimson Dawn and stuff like that. What you're going to do is you're going to find... There's only going to be like one person inside each cantina that will highlight that you can steal from them. So sometimes if there's nobody inside that cantina that allows you to steal from them, what you need to do is you need to immediately bring up your map, go to the nearest fast travel and fast travel to it, and then rinse and repeat the process. It might take a few tries, but eventually a patron at the bar or cantina is going to spawn in there that you're able to steal from. Use Nyx, steal while they're inside the cantina, and then you will eventually do that in all 4 different bars and cantina locations from each planet. 1 from each planet, should I say, 4 times. And you will get the easy pickings.
Next, go. Fetch.
And again, all I did was just constantly go back
Nice one, pal.
To the map, go back to the fast travel point right outside the bar, go back into it. If he's not there, immediately do the same thing and rinse and repeat. Next up is called How Rude. Blind 30 enemies with Nyx attacks. Now this one took me a while, only because the game doesn't explain itself properly. What you need to make sure that you do is that when you blind an enemy, which is essentially when you're in a fight with someone, you're going to hit L1. You're just going to tap it when you're marked, when you have an enemy like in front of you, right? Nyx is going to jump onto them, and they're going to kind of like, he'll be distracted by them, and they'll be blind. Whatever you do, don't shoot the enemy or do anything to the enemy. Just let Nyx finish the animation that plays. and then just do that over and over. The best way to do this is on one enemy. Use the blind attack. Then when the animation is done, immediately hit it again and do it 30 times. And there you go. Again, the reason that it might take you a while, unless you knew exactly what to do, is because I would go around, I would have him jump on there, and then I would immediately take them out. Nyx needs to finish the entire animation. He needs to jump back off. So in order to do that, you have to let the whole thing play out or it will not count it. It's mine now. Acquire the Scoundrel Gear set. This is, again, another one of those big side missions that you can do in the game. This one is particular to the holo projector, or the holodeck thing that you're able to like have, and you need to find the holo discs. And you just go around to the locations that it tells you to do and pick up each and every single piece of gear in those locations. It's like a vault kind of area, similar to the other one that you do. There's like 2 of them you can do. 2 main missions that have almost the same. Scoundrel Gear and the Disruptor Gear have essentially the same type of gameplay.
I picked up some.
And there's like a total of like 6 vaults, but you only need to do specifically 4 of them that have the items you need, because you need chest items, you need pants items. Yeah, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Might want to buckle up. Fly into space with a fully upgraded Trailblazer. So this one can be a little weird. What you're going to need to do is go to a ship customizer, person. Usually you'll find them, like where the big hub areas are. And you need to make sure that one part of your upgrades tree is complete. Like some upgrade trees will have like 3 sections, like you can either use 3 different types of missiles or 3 different types of your main weapons, lasers or ion cannons or something like that. So you just need to make sure that one of those is completely full. Then you move on to the next one, like your engines need to be completely full, your hull needs to be completely full, you need to have at least one countermeasure, one type of missile completely full, essentially like that. Once you do, it doesn't unlock the achievement just yet, or the trophy yet. You need to then fly into space, and then you're good to go. The heavier they fall, defeat a raider to clear wanted status. This is ship combat. And the best way to do this is to literally just go to an Imperial area in one of the planets above, in space, and then just fire at them. Keep killing them until you get a high wanted level. Then a raider will come in to take you out, and just defeat the raider, and you're good to go.
All right.
Punching up, defeat each Syndicate's capital ship without taking hull damage. So there are specific areas that you want to do this in, okay? If you go to Tatooine, there's only one area in space in Tatooine that has anything in it. You can get 2 there. You can get the Hutts, and you can get, for me, I was able to get the Pikes. So you'll go to that section right there where all of the enemies are, and eventually what's going to happen is their capital ship is going to spawn. What you need to do is, as soon as you get to the area and you don't see a capital ship, just load your autosave and rinse and repeat that until the capital ship shows up. The one I got for Crimson Dawn was above Tashara, and I just kept respawning until the capital ship showed up. The next thing you need to do is make sure that you do not take hull damage. You can take shield damage, but not hull damage. I found the easiest way to do this is to be as far back from the capital ship as possible, then throw as much damage you can, like missiles, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes the enemy will not even recognize where you are, and you could just literally take out the ship without it even knowing you're there. And you can do it stealthily, you're good to go. If it does see you and you do get into a fight, go in, do a few pot shots, maybe take out some of its specific areas. Remember, you're allowed to aim at different components on the ship. So let's say one ship is firing a lot of missiles at you, well then take out their missile barrage, and it'll make it a little easier. Go in, get a few hits in, then get out of there as soon as you can, and then turn back around and then repeat the process. And make sure you do not take hull damage, not shield damage, hull damage. If you take hull damage, immediately start the checkpoint over again, and then wait until you get the ship again, and then start over. You have to make sure you take no hull damage during this, all 4. Shield damage is the blue. And as you can see, we just took damage. However, we were able to defeat the ship before we took the damage. So it can get a little close sometimes, obviously, but that's how you're able to get that trophy. And believe it or not, that was the final trophy that we unlocked in order to get the platinum.
Focus fire on enemy weak points. Including hyperdrive ports.
And there you go, ladies and gents. I had a great time playing this game, and I know a lot of people that watched me had a great time as well. Obviously, yes, it's an open world game. You're going to find some bugs here and there, but it was a very enjoyable experience. It really felt like the old style Star Wars games, and I highly recommend any of you out there that are true Star Wars fans and love the original trilogy, play this game. This game it's a lot of fun, really brings you back to the old days of Star Wars, and I absolutely loved it. It is for sure one of my favorite Star Wars games that I have played. So hopefully you guys like this format. It's more of an open format as opposed to a hugely edited style format, but this allows me to go through each and every single one of these and explain in detail how you can get it, and then showing you what happens right before you do get it. So if you like this style, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like me to go back to the old way of doing, of taking the time and going through each video and editing all that stuff and then showing them up on the screen like that, then let me know too. I always love feedback from you guys and want to make sure that I can continue to do great things on this channel. So make sure you leave a like, make sure you leave a comment, let me know what you thought of it. Are you going to play this game? Are you going to get the platinum? Is this game not for you? Let me know. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you again so much for watching, and Star Wars Outlaws is done. Peace out. Bitches.